Orlando. So, David, during today's hearing, Dawn Brancheau's spotter testified about the way he remembered seeing this whale, Tilikum, pull Dawn into the water before ultimately killing her. What did he say?
His story was a little bit different today than what he told the Orange County Sheriff's Office. And of course, this story keeps evolving over time. Initially, she fell in and drowned. Then we were told that she was pulled in by her ponytail. Today, his story changed a little bit. He said that Dawn was lying on her back in the water, doing what's called a layout with Tilikum, where Tilikum also gets on his back, and they were laying on their back together. Then he said Dawn got up on her knees, and then he said the next thing he saw was Dawn pulling at her ponytail. Well, under cross-examination from John Black, the OSHA attorney, Jan admitted that Dawn was lying in the opposite direction, so he couldn't actually see her hair. He just assumed that it went into Tilikum's mouth. And of course, his testimony completely contradicts what other people have said, including a sworn witness earlier this week, a former NYPD officer, who said that Dawn was pulled in by her arm. He said it looked like she was giving a left-hand turn signal as she went in. Now, Jan works for the FBI, so he's a credible witness as well.
So what's the significance of all of this? I mean, why do the details matter so much?
Well, the initial belief was that Seaworld was going to try to blame this on Dawn and say that she never should have been in that position and never should have let her ponytail flow into Tilikum's mouth. We've now had 4 witnesses, Seaworld employees, testify that Dawn did nothing wrong, that where she was and what she was doing was completely approved by Seaworld. If Seaworld wants to still stick with what's called the ponytail defense, OSHA has now countered that too, because there was another event where a woman was pulled in by her clothing, and it was decided that they needed to desensitize the whales to not just clothing, but also hair and other objects. So even if it was a ponytail, Seaworld never desensitized Tilikum to hair. So I don't think Seaworld gets off the hook.
There was also emotional testimony today from the trainer who tried to rescue Dawn from the attack. She spoke of another incident back in 2006 where a killer whale showed aggressive behavior. What did she say happened?
She was at the slide-out area when this young whale named Ike, that's his nickname, grabbed her leg and I believe, wounded her. She gave Ike a signal to open his mouth, and fortunately he did. She got out of the pool. A medic was called. She was treated on site. I think the injuries were fairly minor. She sat down with her supervisor, and they listed the incident on the incident report. And today in court, it was presented that that incident report never made it into the incident log.
Wow, that's interesting.
So when Seaworld says they have only had 99 incidents, we've now heard of maybe 5, 6, 7, 10 more incidents that happened that never got put into the log.
And I guess the question underlying all of this is, should these whales even be in captivity like this? And is something about being in these small pens, because in the wild they go for miles in straight lines and they're just swimming round and round and round for their entire lives stuck in these pens. Does that make them more aggressive? And I guess that's the underlying question here.
I've spoken to scientists who have told me they do believe it does, that there are signs these animals are stressed out. Today, the government's witness, Dr. David Duffus from British Columbia, he had a slightly different take. It was very interesting. He said, first of all, aggression is part of being a predator, and these are top predators. They evolved successfully because they are aggressive. And he also said it wasn't necessarily the stress of captivity, it was the sheer proximity to these whales that was so unpredictable.
Right.
In the wild, we don't get up close with killer whales. It only happens at SeaWorld.